Hello, everybody, and welcome to the qualifiers once again. The LCS Challengers League qualifiers number 2 about to get underway here with our open Swiss stage across today and tomorrow. We'll be cutting down the 32 teams that signed up to compete in this open qualifier down to 16. And once again, 4 teams at stake to getting into that promotion tournament this August, and we're going to start that journey once again today. I am Graves. I'm joined alongside Smacks once again. Thank you all for tuning in on twitch.tv/RallyCryOfficial and RallyCry2 for all of your qualifier needs. There's also a bunch of co-streams going on this summer because there's a lot of games happening today.
Yes, 16 teams get in, 16 streams going on at the same time. Hopefully we get all of the games covered because there are 16 games going on right now. Hopefully all of the links are going to be available somewhere you can go out and find. I'm sure all your favorite teams in the qualifiers are covering them. And we are here today with a very fun matchup. I believe it is the 16th versus 17th seed, so the closest seed possible on this stream.
We wanted to make sure as much competition, as much firepower here on this stream to start off the stage. And so what better than to have our 2 closest teams matching up today. But if you are new, once again, to the LCS Challengers League qualifiers and still want to know how everything works, we are about halfway through our cycle of the summer split. But no time like the present to get started in following all the games that are happening. We are in the second open qualifier process. Anybody could submit an application to compete. And of course, the top 24 teams with the highest solo queue average automatically have qualified to this round of 32, while the selection committee both voted in the last 8 teams, as well as seeding them 1 to 32 to make sure that everybody is, as competitively equal as possible.
Yeah, and once we get to the Swiss stage, which is where we're at right now, this is where you actually get to see seed 1 versus 32, 2 versus 31, all the way down to where our most competitive match is today, which is why we chose this one. 16 versus 17. It's reseeded every single round, or not reseeded, recalibrated to where you're facing other teams that have your same record. So if there are no upsets, then seed 1 will play against seed 16, and so on, until each team gets 3 wins that qualifies them for the group stage. And I believe we have some slides about the group stage as well. Yes, we do. 4 groups exactly like this. You'll remember this format from the last qualifier and also from MSI this year.
A reminder, 3 wins and you're in for this weekend. That's the number that we are going to be tracking throughout. And of course, the winners of those will be entering our group stage. And if they get through that, our elimination bracket, the winner of this entire tournament, regardless of how they did in the previous event, automatically qualifies to be your number 1 seed from the qualifiers in the NACL promotion tournament. That's going to be happening a little bit later this August, and they'll be playing up against the bottom 2 NACL teams, which also are going to be decided this weekend at the conclusion of the regular season. So a lot to be determined in terms of who will be playing in that Challengers League in 2024, and we're here to cover just one part of that.
Yeah, a lot to watch today, especially this weekend with all of the different streams going on, 16 games at the same time. NACL later today, yeah, things like CPLOL English going on, LEC. Always a fun day on the weekends for League of Legends fans, and I'm sure this matchup is going to be no exception. The Swiss round's always very chaotic. This is a new patch for these teams as well. The entire first qualifier was played on 13.11. We have now jumped ahead in time. We're on live servers today, so we have to, and it is 13.13. So some new meta adaptations to be made.
Yeah, well, it feels like we've been on this patch for so long that on 13.11 that it is really nice to finally get back onto some new things. Hopefully see some new things in the meta between the 2 teams that we'll be covering here for round number 1. Let's take a look at the roster, starting with Blue Otter League, your number 16 seed, just on the bubble of potentially getting in, according to the selection committee. They have made some roster changes from their performance in the first OQ. They have now Sandflame, Shorter Ace, and Debonair as their top side, with the bot lane of Zev and Pika Pika remaining.
Yeah, and as a reminder, if you do change up more than half of your roster, you do lose all your points. So even though Blue Otter League did make it through the Swiss rounds, they lose all 15 of those points in order to change up their entire top side, as you said. So we'll see if it ends up paying off for them. They've got some pretty strong experience. I know Shorter Ace is no stranger to making it very, very far as an underseeded team. So looking forward to that one.
We have Sandflame and Debonair, some collegiate representatives from different times. Sandflame of Harrisburg in 2018, 2019 or so, and Debonair, kind of the backup mid laner for the University of California, Irvine, alongside Shorter Ace, of course, in the jungle, who has been at all sorts of levels of competitive play throughout his long
Yeah.
and illustrious career. Should be a fun team to keep an eye on for this Swiss bracket. And their opponents today will, of course, be Generation Gap, which is one of the funnier logos that we have here. Man, look at those biceps, Summer.
Ooh, yeah. This. I wonder who that's a picture of. My first guess would be Hotazy. You know, he's always
Okay.
posting the flexing pictures on Twitter.com. Shout out Hotazy with the muscles. Hopefully it's one of the players on this team though. I'm
I don't know.
picturing Protoss with
I feel like
It
it
takes
might
some
be
strong muscles to play Heimerdinger. You know.
Phenom X in the top lane. I don't know. I might be just completely off base here, but in my head, that guy's got some muscles. He's gonna be in the top lane here.
He's got the coach too.
Yeah, alongside Burb, Holden, Enthralled, and Protoss. Some pieces from UC San Diego, Summer, but also Enthralled in the bot lane, who we have thought has played pretty well throughout this entire year.
Yeah, he's been on some pretty impressive teams. You know, he's bounced around a lot. This is the next hop around from him, from Lilypad to Lilypad, the little frog in the AD carry position. So we'll see if this one can go far. As a reminder, this is a 17 seed team, so the committee doesn't think this team is going to make it. So they've got a chip on their shoulder coming into this.
That is the decision that could be made here with this game. If Genetics Gap ends up winning, that could maybe mean that Blue Water is on the outside looking in, just in terms of what we are expecting coming in as we are headed into the draft for game number 1 of the Swiss bracket. A reminder, there are 16 games going on. If you go to twitter.com/alkbattery, our good friend Dimitri, who is on the other stream, actually has a full spreadsheet with as many of the streamed games as we could find. So we'll be covering as much of the Swiss as we can. There's 16 games going on, which again, pretty difficult to manage all of them, but yeah, it's a good way to keep yourself updated.
Yes, and it's also just really fun watching all the different games and seeing all the results pour in. You know, it's just a very hectic day. Maybe one day we'll get like a ticker at the bottom, like a
Ooh.
sports channel. We'll see all the results there. But today is not that day. As of right now, it'll just be us updating all of you when when that happens. Or if you want to go watch the streams yourself, there's a lot going on. So yeah. Looks like we're having a bit of a delay on the draft. As a reminder, we're on live client today, so yeah, we've got some struggles there. We're not on TR like normal, but I'm sure we'll get that figured out soon.
Of course, important to note that, yeah, we will be on Tournament Realm eventually, so we might see some, messed up names or some people with some different IGNs than what we're going to be referring to. We'll make sure to remind you all as soon as we get into game. But talking about the Swiss bracket overall here, Summer, as we go through all 32 of the teams that we actually end up having here, a lot of the top 4, of course, from last qualifier remain the same, but everybody else has made some sort of roster adjustment in some sort of capacity, which means that we're going to get a new look and see if any of these new look teams can make a push towards the top.
It's really interesting too. Usually, you end up seeing the teams that stay together go farther because they do still have that synergy from the last qualifier. They've been playing together longer, and it is just the top 4 teams that have that. So everyone else not only isn't in that top 4, not only didn't make it to the semifinals last time, but also is at that disadvantage too. So it's gonna be pretty tough, I think, for the rest of the teams to actually break through. Not to mention how strong I think our top 4 actually is, and hopefully we end up seeing some of them later today and or tomorrow as well. I'm pretty excited for all of them.
And seeing how they match up against some of these new look rosters is going to be very, very interesting to keep our eyes out on. Teams like Coachify, who was formerly known as Miracle, now have somebody like Toasty in the mid lane. How much of a difference could that make? Or going down the line, you have Gentle Hearts Gaming, which is a team that is playing on the other stream right now. Consisting of some players in the Cheese Chasers roster, but now have Cinna in the mid lane. How is that going to change things? A lot of observations that are still yet to be made as we are into the draft. Let's focus on the game that we have here for now, Summer, as some bot laners getting selected to first start things off.
Yeah, Kaisa first pick. This is 1313 live patch, so the Shiv in its current state, it's been nerfed a couple of times, but it also isn't the big nail in the coffin quite yet. So we're probably going to be seeing the static Shiv build from Kaisa. I know there's a lot of builds popping around for this champion though. She's one of the most versatile AD carries you can pick in terms of itemization. I've been seeing some like Duskblade full AP Kaisa, which is pretty funny. There's always the on hit stuff with the Rage Blade, so yeah, a lot of options there. And it will be in Desire. This is a bit of a throwback to years past in the like the world's meta and everything from
Yeah.
like 2018.
Yeah, back to like 2018, 2019 sort of bot lane meta. It also still potentially could be a flex, which is something that we're gonna have to keep our eyes on. We know Protoss is on this team. That guy likes to, have some innovative picks down in the draft. Speaking of, we have that Kindred getting locked in here for Genetics Gap. Burb is a new player for this team, but when you look at his OPGG, a lot of Kindred has been played just throughout his endeavors in solo queue. So surprising that Blue Otter decided not to take that away, and now we'll get him on a champion that they're pretty comfortable on.
Yeah, I've heard some rumors popping around that Renekton is a red side essential ban on this patch, as he did just get a little bit of a buff and is just ravaging that top lane in multiple different matchups. So I'm not surprised to see that one banned. I think that's going to be a common trend throughout the entirety of this qualifier, but as of right now, it won't be hitting our screens today, and the next gap will instead just go for an Ornn, a bit of a standard tank for Phenom up there. Into the Gnar now that's been locked in for Blue Otter.
Sandflame, a lot of Gnar played throughout his career, so it makes sense that that one is going to be locked in. We're headed into the second phase of the bans. We still don't entirely know where that Kai'Sa is going to go, or maybe even. Yeah, actually, no. The Maokai is probably a jungle pickup here for Blue Water. Shorter is going to be piloting that one unless things get really wild here. Got Protoss and Holden left to select things potentially for Genetics Gap, and that's, I think, where things can get spicy because this UC San Diego roster throughout CLOL was able to play a lot of, pretty creative things. That's what got them to that top 16.
Yeah, and that's what got the Heimerdinger banned here too. It's Blue Otter did remove that one. There's still some options here to pair up with the Xayah, which I'm assuming will be what Blue Otter's mostly looking to do. They still have their mid laner and support for both teams, so I guess it is just up to them on which counter pick they truly value more. Braum is already gone alongside Nautilus. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Rakan banned. Yeah, that one's gone. The Lovers duo will be denied. And that alongside Rel, not a lot of crowd control options left available for the support position. Things like the Blitzcrank, maybe, if you really want a playmaker there, start to become more valuable.
Let's see. And Pika Pika has played a bunch of different things throughout his time. Debonair still potentially looking for a pickup, and it might be that Nico going into the mid lane for him. Should be a pretty solid matchup no matter who it really is against. If it is a Kai'Sa in the mid lane, I think the Nico actually does pretty good just because of the extra range that you have with those Strangle Barbs. So that could be a good matchup, and we'll see what they have to select here. They saved the last pick for Pika Pika in the support.
I guess it could be Nico support. We don't know
True.
100%. There's some options there. Into the Milio, it looks like, has been locked in for a Genetics Gap. This is what I was talking about. There really aren't that many crowd control playmakers left anymore. You're really starting to look at the Enchanters. And that, to me, kind of says that it's probably going to be the Kai'Sa mid, and we're going to get a more Enchanter-friendly marksman coming through from Genetics Gap. That being said, though, they do already have Kindred. So they have one in the jungle. Not entirely necessary. This would be very bold. The blind pick Irelia.
Okay.
If it is, I mean, it could be Nico support, is what I'm saying. So that
Yeah,
has
in.
been locked in. I feel like this is still kind of blind.
I know Holden likes to play a lot of different champions in the mid lane, so getting a melee mid could work. Also, the opportunity or option to flex things around because you could play the Aurelia into the Gnar with Phenom X in the top lane and just stick that Ornn in the mid lane. Always something that we're gonna have to keep an eye on here, as it looks like the last pick will indeed be for the support for Blue Water. The Blitzcrank throws a little bit of an X factor in there against that Kindred, making sure that Lamb's Respite is not as useful as it might intend to be.
Pretty good champion into the Enchanters as well. One rocket grab away from most Enchanters just getting one shot, especially into some crowd control follow-up, like the Nico Xayah. And the Mega Gnar is alongside the Maokai too, so a lot of CC, a lot of pick threat now from Blue Otter League with the Blitzcrank locked in as the R5, and yeah, I mean this is some unorthodox bot lane pairs to say the least.
Yeah.
Kai'Sa really likes having crowd control on her team, and there's really not that much at all for Genetics Gap.
Almost would make more sense if the supports were flipped. You have Blitzcrank going with the Kai'Sa, add for that all in, and you have an Enchanter on the Xayah. Should be pretty cool to watch, kind of a reversal of roles here. I know Zev plays a lot of Xayah and will be one of the big carries on this Blue Otter team. One of the lone players, the lone carry player that actually has remained on this team from their performance in the first qualifier. And for Blue Otter, this is a team that, of course, needs to look. They have the points that they generated through the Swiss, but that's about it because they did not generate any more throughout their performance in the group stage last qualifier. So making sure that they stay on top of their game. Hopefully, this new roster for them brings some extra life and gets them a win here in this first round of the Swiss stage.
Yeah, I like the comp here a lot. I like the crowd control that they have. I like the team fight capabilities. You know, Nico a little weaker now that her ultimate gets revealed earlier. It's not the full pop out of stealth that it once was. It was really annoying. I'm glad that they changed that. But still pretty powerful. I mean, the ult, if you land it, still does exactly the same thing. So very, very strong. And I mean, you can very easily land it when you're with something like a Maokai.
About to get into game, but before we do, have to thank our sponsors here at the LCS Challengers League qualifiers in Turo, because Turo is the world's largest car-sharing marketplace where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. If you want to forget about boring rental cars, make sure to check out Turo.com, Turo.com, as they've been helping us in the NA developmental landscape throughout the entirety of the summer split. And if you're going on a bit of a summer vacation, maybe a rental car is in need, Turo could be your guy.
Yeah, maybe you're going up to Newark for the
True.
LCS finals. You know, that's next week.
I will be
So that'll
there.
be
If you want
hey,
to, if you want to say hello, I'll be around. I'll be in the Prudential Center. Should be good.
very nice. All right, well, the Grapes meet and greet with the fans. I'm
Only
sure
if
that'll
you
go crazy.
came in a Turo car, though. Of course.
Oh, that's the stipulation. Wow, the Turo
Gotta show me
sweepstakes.
the
You
receipt.
get to go meet Grapes. Wow, impressive. Well, we're here for game one, everybody. Genetics Gap on the blue side, Blue Otter League on the red. This is game one of the Swiss, so not the highest stakes to start things off, but you would really appreciate having your first game be a win, of course, and against a really close seed as well. I mean, this is the closest possible matchup for the committee votes, at least.
And that means hopefully we should get some exciting games. Not always the case. Of course, there are variables that are often thrown around, but hopefully we do get some good games, because that is why we play this game. And we think that these two teams can be competitive with each other on the bubble of potentially making it into the Swiss stage once again, or making it to the group stage. We take a look across the rift. A couple of the name changes. Reminder: we are on the live servers. I believe that is Lucky Holden or Lementar Dreamer in the mid lane as Ragnaku, and in the bot lane, Pika Pika for Blue Otter League.
We also have Enthralled and Protoss swapped around a little bit. They didn't get in order. Shame.
Game.
Shame on you, Protoss and Enthralled. Maybe trying to go for some shenanigans, I guess. Maybe Protoss wanted to play AD carry Heimerdinger, but there we go. We've got him back in the right spot. Can't believe they made us do that. An extra click and drag.
Caddy serving to perfection so far, as they have champions to start things off. So we're starting on the top side of the map. Bot lane with that Blitzcrank could be interesting if both junglers end up wanting to go down there.
Yep, big Blitzcrank fan myself. I've been playing them for a whole lot the last couple of seasons, and it is just because of that X factor where you can just break apart a game at really any phase of it. Missing out on level 2 spike is a little sad. That does happen. You are a melee champion as Blitzcrank, and it seems like Protoss is going to be using that quite nicely so far, just trying to get some extra trades.
It's working pretty well for them. Have a slight CS lead, and Thrald always has been a player throughout at least this year that I've been pretty impressed with every time I've seen him on the Rift. Not necessarily always on the most successful teams. Had Aporia in the first OQ in summer, and then Zenigma in the spring split. But now maybe with a mid laner like Holden doing some work in the mid lane, that could be a big difference maker here.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We're starting to see why this Irelia was picked here. I did call it blind. It didn't end up being blind. This was the selected matchup into the Nico. They called the shot that Nico would not be going to the support position for Pika Pika. And, I mean, the movement seems to be working pretty well. You do not want to get snared up by the myriad of options that they have at their disposal on the side of Blue Otter later on. Perhaps for lane it's okay, though, because, I mean, Irelia's got a lot of sustain.
Yeah, Burp went for a bit of an invade. Shorter Ace trying to sneak into this bush as, oh man, Pika Pika going aggressive here. So it looks like Blue Water want to go for the play. That's the flash immediately on a Protoss, and first blood secured for your number 16 seed.
Protoss did not have any way to escape for that one when the root came through. Needed to flash the Xayah E, because, I mean, the follow-up is just way, way too easy. Flash rocket grab. Shorter Ace doesn't even need to flash his twisted advance in. Easy, easy first blood. And it goes to Zev as well, so big carry online immediately.
It's a good start for Blue Otter, getting off to an early advantage. Of course, Zev, we're building up this player because the fact that he had some good performances throughout this year as well. Team Ambition, and then on Blue Otter last year, or last split, I should say. You know, had some solid performances, even though the team did not end up performing super well in the group stage. So we're looking for this team around Zev to maybe look a little bit stronger. It is interesting to note Blue Otter in the last qualifier did win their first 2 Swiss games before going 3-2. So maybe they can keep riding that momentum, keep that best of 1 going here in game number 1.
Yeah. If they go 2-0 to start this Swiss, I'd be very, very impressed, because that would probably seat them against one of our top 4 teams, unless there's some crazy upsets. Play mid, though.
Debonair gets knocked up here. Shorter Ace and Pika Pika coming here in time, though. Debonair has to flash away. It looks like Holden not able to land that final Blade Surge, so nobody goes down. Just a couple of summoners off the board.
Yeah, there was a solid attempt made by Shorter Ace and Pika Pika to roam up. The Irelia damage is already crazy, though, with only the starter items here. And Emilio in the back pocket. We're seeing the strength of this champion immediately in this game. I absolutely love to see that. Just whenever we get these unique champions in the Swiss, it's always just like, oh, it's a good reminder that these are like solo queue players first, a lot of them anyway, and this is just what they're comfortable going for. So yeah, absolutely love seeing that.
It's the first step on the path to pro, and of course making sure that you're still able to play some of your specialty champions, but start to learn the meta and things as well. Holden on the Aurelia, also a collegiate player, so has a bunch of different levels of experience now. Maybe trying to make his first group stage. Top side, Sandflame, Force, and Phenom X out of lane. That is the one side of the map. As well as Zev in the bot lane, where Blue Otter have the advantage, and they're going to start at the Drake.
Looking really solid for Blue Otter. Getting the first objective down as well. 6 minutes in, and they've got 2 Blitzcranks. Look at that. A pair of... they're going for all the different crazy plays. Watch out. Watch out, Holden. You're going to get rocket grabbed. Oh, he turned into Maokai. Never mind. You're going to get Twisted... Oh, he's back to Nico. You're going to get Stranglethorns. That's Zyra. I don't know. I'm mixed up here, Grapes.
It's like Tangle Barbs? Something Barbs in
Oh,
there.
yeah. I think that is what it is.
Yeah,
Caddy, can you move your mouse over the
E.
Nico E on the left there?
You know, we're professional casters. We probably should know this, but... yeah,
she's been really meta, like, all year, yeah.
Tangle Barbs. There we go.
Tangle.
Okay. There's a lot of similar
dash
sounding
in there
abilities.
too. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we learned something new. Invade coming in from Burb in the jungle as well, who has not gotten off to the best start, just kind of staying even with Shorter Race at this point and on the Kindred, but it is a specialty pick of his. Something we have to keep in mind.
Something else we gotta look at here is the Herald spawning in that minute's time. We've already seen some plays being made from both the supports, the roams in the mid lane. They both have their boots started up on this game as well. They know that the map movements are going to be important, but they're not leaving the lane quite yet, so it might not be as early as 8 minutes that Herald does actually spawn. Which means, if the bot lanes aren't really going to roam up that much, that the mid push matters even more than it already did. And it seems like Holden's still keeping his Irelia push going very strong. I love to see that.
The one lane that is winning right now for Gap, as Holden has been very, very strong throughout this entire game, so don't want to knock anybody in that regard. But Blue Otter definitely in control right now, have the first dragon. as well as maybe working towards that Herald as you see Shorter Race around the top side of the map right now. Debonair looking to try and catch Holden out a little bit here. I think that objective is definitely going to be something that Blue Water want to fight for.
Yeah, they already got the Drake for themselves, and they want the extra gold. Got the gold advantage so far, like you said, in that bot lane, and as well as Sandflame up top, the new addition to this team. Not really the tank that we saw out of Izo before with Blue Otter League. This is, I mean, I feel like Nar's probably in Izo's wheelhouse, but Sandflame for sure.
Oh.
So, trying to get Mega.
Burb jumps over. The prio definitely lies with Blue Water right now, and no, Burb just gets one shot before he can proc the ultimate. Now it is Phenom X in a bad spot as well. The Call of Forge God goes through, but not before Phenom X goes down. 2 straight kills for Blue Water, and they're making their way towards the Herald.
I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about. The mid push is so important when the bot lanes are stationary here, and you see Debonair. He is first to the play. Holden not able to get his Irelia in position quite yet. Did have the ultimate. Would have been very, very useful, but wasn't able to make it work. And now the Rift Herald alongside those 2 kills started up very strong on Blue Otter, and the entirety of their map is ahead now for sure.
2.3 thousand gold at 9 minutes. Very good start for Blue Water. Once again, them getting off on the right foot is going to be very important. As of course, every win matters, and also just getting that morale up. You know, this is a team that some of the players and the staff didn't have the greatest opportunity or greatest looks in the group stage. And having a dominant victory like this, if they're able to close this out, definitely be an exciting opportunity for them.
Yep, I know they're really looking to repeat the success of getting into the group stage and hopefully fixing what their results were in the group stage once they actually get there. But you got to get to the group stage first, and this is a great way to start. I would say probably the best way to start, getting a lead in the first game of the Swiss. There's really not a better way you can do it.
And doing so without giving up a kill so far as well. So
Yeah.
that gameplay for them looking very solid. Shorter Race in the jungle has a pretty significant advantage. Great to see him back. I know that, of course, has graduated from Harrisburg University as of this year, so congratulations to Ryan. And now in the process of, you know, balancing some work in life and everything along that line, but get to see him play some more League of Legends, and I'm always going to be happy about that.
Yeah, we got to see him somewhere. He's not going to be at Hugh Fest anymore. At least as a player, probably. Maybe we'll see him in the audience at that event. That'd be fun. Are you planning on going to Hugh Fest, Grapes?
I don't know. I mean, it's a decent drive, but perhaps if I get an invite, maybe. Hugh Fest, if you want to hit me up. Zoo, know you're watching this game. Gank in the bottom lane, so speaking of Shorter Race, 3-man stun there, and there comes the Pop Blossom from Debonair. Protoss will die for the second time. Nice stun lands on by Holden, but Verb will fall. A double kill in for Zev, as Blue Water are off and running. 5 straight kills for them.
You called out in the draft, Grapes, that Blitzcrank is really, really good into the Kindred ultimate, and good it was. Protoss thought he was safe underneath the Lamb's Respite. Nope, just rocket grab over. And look at this. Pika Pika is going for my patented build, the Everfrost Blitzcrank. And yes, I was the person to do this on the ladder. Don't look at Barrel playing it in LCK. That's probably what popularized it a little bit. I did it before Barrel. Okay. And Barrel's a world champion.
That makes you a world champion by proxy, right?
Yes. I am faster at getting the builds than Barrel is, which means I'm better than Barrel at least one thing. Which, yeah, means that he's not the world champion in that, and that means that I am.
Yep.
Okay, that's the math. Yep.
All right. It's a big win. Big win for the NA community, of course. Oh man, the Everfrost does
on that last play though. Too,
yeah,
because that was 3-0 now on Zev. He is definitely online. Nice double kill. Already cracking too.
I'm a big fan of, you know, seeing this team do well. Of course, now the bottom lane will be interesting with Pika Pika with the Everfrost on the Blitzcrank. Add a little bit of extra crowd control. Looks like Gap needs something in the top side. Verb gonna go on to Sandflame. Can he reach Mega? Does do so, but will be still going down as Verb get on the board.
That ult was very close to coming through and maybe stunning up and causing some extra havoc. No such luck though. Will give up at least one kill. The perfect game is completely shattered for the Blue Otter League. They're going to be okay with that one. They don't need a perfect game. They just need a win. 3 plates in the bottom lane, continuing to snowball their AD carry. And Zev is off to the races. You got to be really careful underneath.
Oh, they're going to try to go for the dive here. Nice flash away from Protoss. Gets away from the rocket grab. Now Enthralled actually going to go in with the killer instinct. And the teleport comes in for Phenom X. Lands a searing charge on the 2. And Zev gets shut down. Enthralled might have gone a little bit too far forward, though. Just the tanks trying to take them down. Teleport comes in. Sandflame joining the party. And Protoss gets locked in once again. It's a double kill for the Gnar. And Enthralled once again in a bad spot without any health, without any mana, and soon without any life. A triple kill comes through for Sandflame.
Okay, dropping that Fed AD carry, but the triple kill for the Gnar. Flash
Oh,
whoa,
Holden, Ghost, Golden is debonair with the W in, one more auto, and what a kill in the mid lane.
Okay, nicely done, nicely recovered there a bit for Bourbon. Holden finding one back. Triple kill for Sandflame. He's going to finish off his turret too.
Man.
This is a ton of gold for the Gnar. There it is with all plates attached. First turret over to Blue Otter. Giving up some kills in the process, up to 3 now for the Genetics Gap squad. But they're definitely very, very far behind in their funds.
That play, of course, looked okay for a little bit as the teleport came in from Phenom X. Got him a couple kills, but the amount that Blue Otter was able to get back, just not really an even matchup now. Sandflame, 3 kills in that one. Still have Zev with that mythic item completed. I mean, this is still a very strong front-to-back composition on top of everything else. And they are up 3,500 gold, so very good start for them.
Yeah, not only is it a good front-to-back composition, one that's very hard to break into. You're engaging onto a Xayah ultimate, a Nico ultimate, and like getting into melee range with those 2 carries is very tricky to do. And I mean, now that Sandflame's ahead too, it's pretty much everybody.
Oh, it's a 2v1 now. Can Sandflame reach Mega? That's once again the question. The answer this time being no. Enthralled with the help of Protoss gets a big 600 gold shutdown.
Look at all that on-hit damage with the Milio as well. Enthralled is going to be scary in this game. Already Shiv completed. He is going to need to be scary as well. Just, I mean, this team is kind of hurting for damage at this stage of the game. They definitely shouldn't be. They've got 2 marksmen and an Irelia paired up with the Milio. This comp is built to pump out damage, and a lot of it. Put behind very early. They need to get some more gold on their members so they can start scaling up. And I mean, Enthralled is doing that right now. Getting that kill, getting that turret. Maybe we get a Kai'Sa late game.
And now Burb hitting that 4th mark as well in the Kindred. Very, very good breaking points for Gap. Still have some room to climb. But, you know, they're doing the right things to keep themselves into this one. We'll see what the back for Enthralled looks like after this. Might have the full 2nd item already completed off of that buy. Oh, just so close to finishing off the Nashers. But we're getting there. We're getting to the point where some of these players are once again able to match up.
Grapes, I'm foreseeing an issue for Genetics Gap here.
Okay.
I'm foreseeing that this Kai'Sa build will not have a mythic item for quite some time, and I don't know if this Irelia build will have a mythic item for quite some time. Those are the only items that Ornn can upgrade, so they will need to try to keep pace. Once Phenom hits level 14, it's probably just going to be the Kindred to upgrade the item, and then hopefully the rest of them can come through.
And I mean, if the Kindred's doing that, not the worst thing. And so maybe level 15 or so is where you'll see those mythic items come in. Overall, that is always something you have to consider when you're with Ornn, even though these mythicless builds are good. Oh no, here's an engage started. What a hook! Coming out from Pika, and now the flash coming in from Debonair as well. The land rest that comes through, but it's still a 4v2 after the heals come out. That's 2 more on the board for Blue Otter, and Phenom X under fire as well. Sandflame yeets him right back into his grasp and picks up 4 for his team.
Very nicely done for Blue Otter, specifically Pika. The flash grab on the Blitzcrank. Enthralled can't ult, he can't flash out. He's dead as he stands. 12 kills now for the Blue Otter squad. Another turret moving over to the Drake. They've got 3 of them now. And Grapes, this game, I was saying it might end up getting a little close later on. Maybe once those Ornn items come through, we might not even get to getting the Ornn items upgraded. This game is going very quickly now.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to pick up the pace and win a couple more fights for that to happen, for sure. Pika on the Blitzcrank. Just what a find there. Using the flash, not even trying to get over the wall, just to get as much extra range as possible. Don't think that was really a move that Enthralled saw coming, and it just really came back to bite him. That started the whole engage. And Blue Otter off to a really, really good start. This newfound roster making some moves here in the Swiss stage.
There's a lot of guys to root for on this team, and they're already coming out really strong with the teamwork, the crowd control in the 5v5s. Or I should say 5v4s, honestly, Grapes, because Holden hasn't been a part of any of them quite yet. He's really been farming up on the Cyrelia, didn't make it to that Herald play, didn't make it to the just most recent skirmish around the Drake, and I mean, he needs to be in those 5v5s. He does have so much extra damage on the Aurelia that his team desperately needs, and he just hasn't done it yet.
Sometimes it's the problem when you're playing a champion like the Aurelia. Hard to get into fights a lot of the time, even if you are able to clear out a lot of waves, farm 10 CS per minute, and now the rest of your team's still going to get caught out by Pika Pika. Bird fails to flash over the wall and will go down to shorter race. Jungle on jungler combat going the way of Blue Otter. Here comes the Ornn ultimate. Will knock up 2, and Holden finally arrives to the fight with the Vanguard's Edge. Not enough damage just yet. The Pop Blossom comes down. Holden gets hooked in and taken out by Zev. 2 for nothing, and Sandflame's going to jump in as well. Protoss not long for this world, but the shield will not save his life. Blue Otter find 3 more.
It's too little too late for Holden. He can't deal enough damage. He gets locked down for just so long. I mean, look at the crowd control chain available to Blue Otter. You get hit by the Pop Blossom, the root from the Nature's Grasp. You get rooted by Xayah as well. I mean, you only have 1 cleanse from the Milio. Protoss can only do so much. Everyone else just gets locked down. Up to 15 kills for Blue Otter. And this is before the Barons even spawned. They're going to have a very easy time around that objective.
We had the 16 versus 17. We picked this one out because we thought, hey, this could be a competitive series. This could be a close game between these two teams, and that is not what Blue Otter had in mind. They want to prove that they earned their spot back into the group stage with authority. They're doing so here in this game. Shorter race on the Maokai has found some great finds, a new addition to this team. 3-0-11, nearly 100% KP.
Aggressive game from the Tree Man in the jungle. He may not be playing at the Harrisburg LAN in a couple of months, but he's playing in the qualifiers, and I'm very glad to see it. You know, I would miss having him around here in the competitive League of Legends space. We got a few players like that in the qualifiers. You know, PCL is coming back, playing on one of the teams, Rock Boom. We got a lot of substitutions being made just to make sure that some ringers come through and get those extra qualification points. As Blue Otter League, they've got Shorter Race on this roster, they've got the big leader on the team, and they've got such a strong lead. Like I said before, this objective is no problem to take. Baron Nashor is taken before 21 minutes. That's a Turo Baron buff.
A little bit more veterancy on this roster as well with Shorter Race coming in. You remember the previous jungler in the last qualifier was a rookie in Damon, so now having somebody who's been on the biggest of stages, has been to Proving Grounds in the past year, maybe helping them out just a little bit. It's Turo Baron buff, as you said, Summer, belongs to Blue Otter League. Gonna try to put the finishing touches on this game, secure their first win of the Swiss bracket. To target around the Dragon. They have a lot of room to work with now. Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, this is what you gotta do. Killer Instinct in onto Zeb, but did not able to generate enough room. Here comes the ulti, not going to find a target. As Nafina Mex has the opportunity to re-engage to get onto Zeb. The stun connects. Ooh. Here comes Holding with the Vanguard's Edge to get the shutdown onto Enthralled. A 3-man Pop Blossom, not enough damage as Debonair in a lot of trouble. The Prey Seeker, not enough to take him down. The knock back out of the Lamb's Respite doing some work, but a huge flank coming out from Sandflame. The Gnar sends 3 into the tower and will take all of them out.
Sandflame's Gnar timers are ridiculous this game. This is the exact moment where you need to hit Mega and find that flank. Wow, Sandflame is just super, super impressive for this roster. A couple of his teammates did end up getting shut down in the play, but it's completely fine. They are not the only ones with the lead. It is everybody. That scoop from Sandflame. I mean, some delicious ice cream on a hot summer day. Love to see it.
Yeah, some just very easy to eat treats for the rest of the team. Just scooped right back into Blue Otter, and that might be the game. A 10,000 gold lead at this point. The Mountain Soul sure to follow as Debonair might try to pick this up solo. What a game. What a clean performance so far by Blue Otter League.
Yeah, it is looking really good. They've shrugged off all these engage attempts from Genetics Gap. The Ornn ultimate, the Aurelia ultimate hasn't really done a whole lot to Blue Otter's composition here at all. Mountain Soul is going to make that even more difficult. There is a Maokai ult.
He's going to find it down the Holden. No. Pop Blossom will land though instead. And I think Holden might be in a bit of trouble as he will go down to shorter race. Caught out in that side lane. Baron buff still in their hands for another 30 seconds. They're going to try to crack open this tier 2.
Won't even be attempting a Blade Surge there. He bows out of that one. No ultimate available either. Sandflame.
Oh, nice predict
on the Gnar.
On the jump by Phenom X. He's going to flash away. Nearing Mega Gnar though, and now shorter race looking to find a re-engage. And Gap know that they had to get the hell out of there. Burb, sorry. Looking for some dances of arrows, but not able to find anything.
They have activated the Mega Gnar, so perhaps this is going to be some sort of re-engage. Holden up in 5 seconds on Aurelia. He's got a flank ward deep into the bottom lane. This could be the angle. They're going to have to lose their inhibitor turret to find it, though.
And now, I mean, what can you do as Genetics Gap? Have to find some way to get back into this one, but every time that they've tried and engaged, it has gone awry. The full all-in composition that they have, the Mountain Soul, even doing a lot of work against that. The gold lead seems even larger than it is, and it is about 10,000. Oh no, the minion Debonair gonna catch out Holden once more, and that might be all she wrote. Phenom X gonna try to find some re-engage, but Sandflame is now Mega. Burb back in, and a nice hook from Pika Pika will be the one to seal the deal. It is just Protoss and Burb running back to their base as Blue Otter looks to put the finishing touches on this game.
Phenom lived on the other side, so we can recall and come back over, but the teleport is here. It's an outnumbered fight. Another hook.
That is what's going to finish things off here. Burb goes down. Nexus turret number 1 falls. They're waiting for a wave to finish this game off. But as the minions walk in, it will be the march to a game number 1 victory for Blue Otter League.
Well done, Blue Otter. Picking up the first win of the Swiss. Genetics Gap will have to try again for the rest of the rounds. 4 games left for both of these teams. Blue Otter League, I mean, this is perhaps going to be righting the wrongs of the group stage that gave them so much trouble just one qualifier ago.
Yeah, and some of these new additions to the team coming in and making a big impact immediately. Shorter race in the Maokai. Debonair on the Nico had a bit of a spicy play towards the end, found a ton of great pop blossoms. And Sandflame having a very good game on the Gnar, champion that he knows very, very well. And so if this team is able to continue moving, I think that they're off to a much better opportunity to perform well than they were in that last qualifier.
Yeah, very nicely done to Blue Otter League. We don't have any of the other results in, or maybe we do. How about we check?
We got a few.
Let's see. Swiss results coming in. We've got the updates for you all. Firstly, CCG with the new addition Hyper to the jungle picks up their first win. Very impressive stuff. It looks like he played Lee Sin. So, yeah, that's
Hyper's back. I'm happy about that.
Team Ambition, your winners of the first qualifier, got their first win. They were seeded first, so that's definitely expected. Same with Winthrop, who were seeded third. They also got their first win against To The Arena. Oh, Cold Hearted picking up a win with the new addition of Yukino in the jungle.
Man. Let's see, what do you play? Nocturne game, 9-1-6 for Yukino. Let's go.
Let's see. Mirage Alliance got their first win against Contingent. Man, feel bad for Contingent. They just play against the highest teams every single time. And then looks like Roar Shadow Z Fan Club took an L to the new Coachify. Looks like that's the roster that they played against. So Coachify picks up a win. And yeah, no upsets quite yet, everybody. But yeah, fun stuff from the results so far. Looks like we still have 9-ish games left to be played. So.
We're about halfway through the results coming in so far, as that was a pretty quick game. Very nicely done by Blue Otter. I believe we could step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll have the next round of the Swiss bracket. A reminder, on Alk Battery's Twitter, there is a spreadsheet that has all the links to the game, so make sure you tune into that, as well as Rally Cry 2, to make sure you're completely up to date on the qualifiers. We'll see you in the second round.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace. Find your drive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the LCS Challengers League Qualifier Open Qualifiers. We apologize for the extended delay, but we are back with round 2 of the Swiss as all of our teams have been reseeded. 4 teams upset in that first round, and so it caused for some differences in the way that we were expecting the seedings to go, but still got some exciting matchups ahead of us today.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this game in particular. We've got CB Gaming versus Komodo on our screens for game 2 on this stream. Let's take a look at those rosters right away. I do believe we have Komodo up first as our higher seed. Neither of these teams got upset. They are both 1-0. They both proceeded to make it into groups, and I think it's pretty easy to see why when it comes to a team like this here on Komodo's side. I do believe that they don't have the points that they accrued in the last qualifier because they did switch out a lot of this roster here, Grapes.
Only one player from the Komodo that we saw in the first qualifier is the same. That is Doxa in the mid lane. Tapo, Kitsuo, Kenji, and Burai coming in. Burai, player that we have not seen in a couple of years. I did see in the match histories that ZKG was playing support in game number 1. We'll see if Kenji is available for game number 2. But, still a pretty solid roster, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. We've got a lot of collegiate winners here on this roster. Kitsuo most recently with University of St. Thomas, and of course, Doxa and Kenji most recently on that Winthrop run back in 21. So very exciting stuff here on the Komodo side. I know they really want to make up for the lack of playoffs representation for them in the last qualifier. Definitely trying to make it all the way to that top 8 at least. As we move over to the other roster that they will be playing against, we have CB Gaming, who just took a pretty long win against Final Form, I believe. They've got some pretty exciting players on this roster as well. A lot of them played in the last qualifier, and Klexo, I believe, is the main guy coming back for CB Gaming, who was that big carry that actually got them a win against Mirage Alliance in the group stage.
This team will retain their 15 points that they won in the group stage last split. Just the Swiss bracket, they won 3 games to get into the group stage. They would not win any best of 3s, so they are just sitting at 15 points. But even that little boost could be enough to maybe make some sort of difference. Although for both of these teams, Summer, we're looking at a situation where the main opportunity for them to qualify into the promotion tournament is no longer through points, but instead winning the entire event towards the end.
Yeah, definitely likely. It's a very close race in that top 4. Even though Lit may or may not have lost their first game, I'm sure we'll be getting a look at what Lit's up to later on into the day. But they actually are 1-0 right now, so keep an eye on that. Other thing for CB Gaming, they've got Psycho on the roster now, a guy who's been a pretty big carry force on a lot of teams in the Tier 3 space. So looking forward to seeing what he can do today in this game too. Starting off the Swiss tournament, going 2-0 in the first day, best thing you could possibly do for yourself.
And for both of these teams, it would be a big confidence booster going into the second round robin. For CB, had that hot start where they did take game number 1 over Mirage Alliance, but then were not able to pick up wins after that. They ended up falling in the second round in the lower bracket to, I believe, CCG. And for a team that had some high expectations and that took some interesting games off of people, it is, a bit... it's going to mean a lot for them to come back. They don't have War Cycle anymore, but Psycho coming in definitely is a good replacement. And then seeing what the rest of this team is going to be able to do as well.
Yeah. We're going to be waiting for them to start up in the draft in just a little bit. Looks like we're having a bit of delay there. But as a reminder, there are 16 games going on at the same time right now. You can go over to Alk Battery on Twitter to find a spreadsheet with all of the games, all of the stream links as well. Yeah, and not to mention Alk Battery, not to mention the cast that Alk Battery is doing right now on Rally Cry 2 on the Twitch channel. So you can check that out while we're delaying. There's a bunch of games happening all at once, and that is the chaos of the Swiss rounds. But yeah, if you sit here for a little while longer, we'll get into the draft shortly.
And some of the games have already actually begun, I think, on other streams as well. So if you want to go check those out, there's an opportunity for the largest multi-Twitch of all time, where you have 16 games plus NACL plus LEC plus everything else going on at the same time. So Yeah, if you want to do that, you could send a picture of what your screens are looking like. Should be pretty cool. But we are into the draft between these two 1-0 teams to see who will get one step closer to qualifying into the group stage next week.
Yep. We don't actually know who's playing the support position for Komodo quite yet, unless someone can tell us on the prod side in the lobby. Actually unsure whether it's ZKG or Kenji. Of course, we do see ZKG's on the coaching side for Komodo, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, a lot of Winthrop players here for Komodo. Not as many as last time, I will say. Mabud is no longer here, and I believe Frost is taking a step back too. So yeah, a bit of shakeup. As we said, they lose all their points from before. But yeah, hey, one more Winthrop player, at least current Winthrop attendee, ZKG, is officially playing support for this game.
And actually, some other roster changes for CB from the last qualifier that I completely forgot about. Geiger in the top lane instead of JJK, him and Colthrow kind of migrating over from the Froggy 5 to help out with CB's roster this time around. Because, yeah, getting a bit of a mix of that. And Geiger has been a player that has been pretty consistent in this space for a while. And so getting another opportunity here on a team that has had some levels of success is going to be fun to watch.
Ooh, starting things off with an Ivern ban. I know that champion is very powerful on live right now. I've lost a lot of games in my solo queue to that champion. It's pretty ridiculous. The damage and the shielding, all very strong. So removing that one. Another AP option in the jungle. Karthus is banned. I know I called before that I've been seeing a lot of Renekton priority. Some teams are banning it in the first round. We've seen a lot of it banned in the second round. But my personal pick for strongest champion on this patch did just get banned. It is Rumble. I think Rumble is absolutely crazy right now.
Yeah, definitely a strong one. We've seen a couple of games in this first round of Swiss where Rumble has taken over, as well as, of course, watching LCS and NACL and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The added ability to have more empowered, abilities with the extra heat definitely goes a long way in dishing out as much damage as possible up on the top side of the map. Poppy rounds out the bans here, as Kitsua will not get his hands on that, and we'll see what Komodo prioritize here on this new patch.
Yeah, a lot of bans against Kitsuo. It's pretty fun. This Tristana pick has been very highly prized in many, many regions right now as one of the strongest marksmen. It is flexible. Of course, you can send that one to mid, which is, of course, the big draw of Tristana. I've even seen it top lane in some cases, though I don't think it's especially powerful there. The turret demolition is very strong, and you can pair it with the Ziggs as the AD carry of choice a lot of the time to just double up on the explosive yordles for the structure taking.
We'll see if that ends up coming through. Of course, ZKG, when he played bot lane for Winthrop, played a lot of champions like this Ziggs, but now at support, not entirely sure if that's going to be going through again. Burai, haven't seen too much of him at all over these past few years. I was talking to Keelix, and he said that he was part of the scene back in like 2018, 2019, but taking a bit of a break. Now back here in competitive play, as we see the double Shiv potentially come through on the 1-2 for CB.
Yep, Shiv twins are here. Still as strong as ever on live patch. So welcome back to LeBlanc and Kaisa, who's been the most popular user of that item most recently. I will say this is a champion that can go in multiple roles as well alongside that Tristana. Though with the Varus locked in, that all but confirms that Tristana will go mid. Pairing it up with a tank in the front line here for Komodo. That one's going up top. So yeah, some strong scaling options for Komodo. I think they need to round this out with some mobility to get things started and some lockdown and early game lockdown at that, because there's really not a whole lot going on early here.
We'll see what this final phase ends up looking like. We see the Rel coming in here on 3. Could be a jungle pickup for K2, but most likely Mixture in the bottom lane will be picking that one up as we head into the second phase of bans. A lot of kind of diversity here, so bans are going to be a bit different across the board for each team.
Okay, Rel locked in, and the Janna ban. That tells us that it's most definitely Rel support. Janna's one of the hardest matchups in the entire game for Rel to play into. So happy to see that one. It's also quite good with double marksman. The Alistar is another one that Rels can sometimes struggle with if you do want to take that one away. If you're specifically focusing on Rel counterpicks here, that could maybe be an option for CB Gaming. Depends on how good you think ZKG is at all of the Rel counters. See, clearly, they think he's good at Janna.
Yeah, and they seem to think that as well. K2 had a really solid Graves game in game one of the Swiss, in case you weren't watching that. And so that is going to be taken away from him in this second phase. We'll see more support bands going down towards ZKG, even though he's a bit of a role swap, both in terms of previously playing marksman and also the coach of this team. They seem to really want to they really want to make sure that this is not a champion that ends up coming into their hands.
Yeah, some of the options you can go for with the Varus at this point now are the ranged ones. Things like the Milio can come in. Milio is possible to pick into Rel. You can counter her engage a little bit with the Super Mega Fire Kick, I think is what it's called, the Q, the little knockback. And yeah, that is an option. But other than that, if you do get jumped on, it's really, really hard to survive. And specifically the Rel stun lance, now that it does have that extra crowd control on it, is really hard to compete against with when you're an enchanter. So we'll see what ZKG actually decides to bring to the table. They still, like I was saying on Komodo, need some way to have some fights start off in the melee range so that they can buy space for this Varus and Tristana.
Gwen coming through for Geiger. It's a nice matchup into the Ornn on the top side of the map. We'll see if any of those spacing tools that you said, Summer, could be locked in on this 4-5 for Komodo. The Braum makes a lot of sense. Add some protection for some of the burst damage that could come through at range from CB on the Kaisa and LeBlanc side. And we'll see what Kitsuo wants to select here in the jungle to round out this composition.
Yeah, I like the Braum. Typically as a champion you think of as a denial with the Ornn so that you can block the ultimate. But Rel's already been picked for CB Gaming, and like I said before, I don't think they want to flex that around, specifically seeing the support bans in the second phase that they went for. So we'll see what Braum can bring to the table here. I actually really like that Lilia pick. Some more magic damage would be very useful for Komodo. Maybe just still cycling stuff around for Kitsuo. Wow, okay, Rengar actually locked in. No magic damage. Maybe we get the AP Varus because of that.
Yeah. It's going to have to be the AP Varus. Maybe some like Static Shift Tristana as well, because you do not have a lot of magic damage on this Komodo team. Although, on CB's side, not a ton of tanks, but just having even a little bit of ability to stack one type of resistance, whether it is armor in this case or magic resist, would be important. I would imagine that Burai is going to be going some sort of AP build. We'll see what CB Gaming want to lock in here. That is a Jax getting picked up for K2, presumably in the jungle, unless it's some sort of Gwen flex into the jungle as well. I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at here.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's funny because for CB Gaming, the champion that is most well aligned with the jungle role on their team is Rel, but that's the only one that can play support, really. So I don't think that's going to end up happening. It's just... Man, the meta right now is so strange. But yeah, it's either going to be Jax or Gwen in the jungle. Both of those champions give the long-range marksman a lot of trouble, actually, with the Counter-Strike and the Hollowed Mist. So I like both those champions conceptually. How can they actually fit into the team composition for CB Gaming, though, with one of them playing a weird role?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at here in this draft. Once the picks start coming through in the live client, we will be able to update you with that information. But I would assume right at this moment it's a jungle Jax for K2. We've seen it a little bit this year in the LCS or in competitive play. I think River from Golden Guardians played a game of jungle Jax at some point in 2023. So maybe that is what they're looking for. Matchup into the Rengar seems pretty good, but we're gonna have to wait and see, because something weird is cooking here. Coulter, had some interesting ideas here in this draft.
Definitely did. I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense that it sounds like it'd be pretty good into Rengar. You don't have to worry too much about the leaps onto you, the Q, the empowered auto attack, all of that blocked by the Counter-Strike. So that alongside with Tristana and Varus, Jax is going to have a hard time dying, I think, in this game. Hopefully I didn't jinx whatever player is playing it that much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This the unique chaos that we love to see out of Swiss. I know I've been saying that a lot today, but that's just how it is. It's just true.
We got confirmation from production. It is Gwen in the top lane for Geiger, and then K2 will be playing the Jax jungle. And they're kind of what we were expecting, but things could have gotten a little bit weirder. Maybe I had this like LeBlanc support idea in my mind for a while. Glad that we're not going to be seeing that. Instead, it's just the classic build, Static Shiv in the mid lane for Klexo. And overall, some spicy picks are on this new patch, but more importantly, these two teams are also sporting new looks and have an interesting path towards a potential end goal of winning this entire tournament and making into promotion at the end of next month.
Yeah, that is definitely my favorite thing about the second qualifier. Whoever wins goes straight to promotion. Everyone is still in the running until the very bitter end. I think that's so fun, and I hope that all the teams also have that as that extra incentive at the back of their minds. Just know that the promotion tournament is still in the cards for everybody. At this point, especially, still going into the second game only of Swiss. Of course, by the end of this weekend, we will eliminate half of our teams. That is 16 teams will drop out as we go into the group stage. And from there, the best of threes begin and everything. And that'll start up next weekend. So, yeah. Right back into the swing of things. The Swiss is just incredible.
3 more games tomorrow, and things can get continuously wacky as we go throughout. Speaking of, we're about to hop into the second game. One of the second games have already ended. In the
What?
qualifiers. Mirage Alliance just took game number 2 in 15 minutes over Baby Paradise. So that team that you just saw in Rally Cry 2 that defeated Gentle Hearts just got smashed by a crazy 6-0-3 performance out of Chad Jungle's Kindred. So, yeah, things get wild. The team that won just in the game number 1 loses in 15 minutes the next one. So,
all right. Well, Mirage Alliance have defeated the EP allegations for today. They woke up early.
They have
to
won
get this
both their
one done,
games.
and they finished before noon. So, impressive.
They can go back to bed.
They can, back to nap time. I know Chad was posting some videos of him, cuddling with his cat. So I'm sure Chad's cat will love to have him back. But wow, congrats on the speed run. That's a good start.
Yeah. We're about to hop into game here, but before we do so, I want to thank our sponsors over at Turo, because the NACL qualifiers are brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace, where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. You can forget about boring rental cars at Turo.com. I think we're about ready to get into game between Komodo and CB Gaming. Winner jumps to 2-0 in the Swiss.
We're here. We are ready to get things started, and hopefully K2 figures out that he didn't buy his items. There we go. Good job. We're all ready. We're all equipped to start up this game. And K2, he got his items here, but he is playing a very interesting champion. He's playing the Jax for us. So, yeah, we'll see how that actually pans out. It's been a long time since I've seen a Jax jungle.
The clear seems like it's going to be fine. And honestly, him and Kitsuo probably just going to be full clearing throughout. And so, in terms of early game interaction, I don't expect too much. The gank power, probably there a little bit better for the Jax than it is for the Rengar, but it's going to be a fun one to watch. Carries in the jungle, not something that you traditionally see at this level of play anymore. So, we'll see Kitsuo on his signature pick. Doesn't have the Ivern like Robbie Bob would normally provide him, but going to be paired alongside a different collegiate champion in Dox in the mid lane.
Oh, man, those are the good old days, huh? The Ivern Rengar combo. It's been a while. We need to bring that back. Maybe they can play that duo in the new 2v2v2v2 mode, the arena. That sounds pretty good, yeah. Rengar.
Bring him back, yeah.
Exactly.
I have not played too much of that, but
it's pretty good. I actually really like it. It's great for bringing on new players. I think that's going to do a lot for the new player experience. So, because think about it, you're a new player for League of Legends. Your friend is like, hey, want to get you into this one? Why don't we hit up the 2v2v2v2 mode so you can learn the basics and everything of the combat? Like, that just sounds great. So
yeah, and then if you don't do so well, it's your first game, you're only hurting your friend, and here your friend's not going to be as mad at you as maybe some other people in a competitive.
It only lasts like 15 minutes too.
Yeah.
So. It's a quick one.
All right. Well,
Anyway, we are on live, so just getting the housekeeping out of the way. Only one player is going by a different name. The Varus on Komodo's side, we're going to be calling Burai. Everybody else, their name is right there, so don't have to worry about that one. We will be on Tournament Realm next weekend, so just getting that out of the way first. Oh, hey.
bit of a pause here as hopefully everything gets resolved shortly, but some pretty exciting stuff to look forward to in this game, but unfortunately not ready for us just yet. Summer, we can take a look at some of the games that actually happened throughout the Swiss bracket in round number 1, because there were a couple of upsets, as we saw on the Rally Cry 2 stream. Gentle Hearts Gaming, the team that was formerly known as the Cheese Chasers, did lose to Baby Paradise, who, as we said, just lost to Mirage Alliance in 15 minutes. But across the board as well, Keelix and Grandpa Gamers and Lit, two teams that made the quarterfinals, dropped their first games.
Yeah, Lit is the big surprise. Morningstar Legends, perhaps a team that we can look out for. Lit was a man down. They did have to sub Chaye out, bringing Plux in, so that is something to keep in mind. Hopefully, Chaye is actually back. Actually, I want to check. Is Chaye back for the other game? Hey, look, we're back in the game.
Don't know if that game is currently being streamed either, so you might have to wait and see until the results channel actually ends up coming out.
He's not in the call. Plux is in the call unmuted, so I'm pretty sure that Plux is still here for today. So we'll see what Chaye, if he can come back for the next day or the next weekend, perhaps.
Hopefully so. Of course, Sajid and Chaye bot lane that worked very well, at least out of the laning phase throughout qualifier number 1. Some instances where some of the other 2v2s got the better of them, but a growing pair that has definitely impressed in some capacities throughout 2023. So that's a team that we have our eye on. They are right now primed to make the promotion tournament if no other upsets end up happening. As right now, starting things off, both junglers full clearing. We're off to a pretty calm start to this game.
Seems like it so far. We've got a lot of marksmen in this game, 3.5, I guess, depending on how much you count Static Shiv LeBlanc. I mean, honestly, LeBlanc and Tristana kind of operate in a very similar way. They have,
oh
my God. Whoa!
Okay.
K2 warded and then flashed because his Q wasn't up, I think that's what happened.
He did just jump back into the pit and pick up that Grom, so only that summoner spell being burned, nothing stolen away. And speaking of, might see a fight around this Rift Scuttler. No, Kitsu's going to smite that out. And now the brawls can continue. The Counter-Strike comes out, stun lands on his EKG, and Kitsuo is going to continue to jump. The bushes are at his disposal. First blood to the Rengar as K2 will go down.
Flashing over the wall is Mixture. Whoa! Doxa chunking out Klexo, who's trying to make a return into that exchange. Very, very low on the LeBlanc now, and Komodo walk away with first blood and a health advantage.
It's a very good start for Komodo as they, have Kitsu on the Rengar. This was an unorthodox jungle pick, Summer, and props to them for realizing that and knowing that they can take advantage of this Jax in the early game.
Early Dirk now for Kitsuo, so he's getting off the ground. He's already got one on his Bone Tooth Necklace collection, too. Lots of AD to start off this game for the Rengar. Before even level 6, I mean, yeah, it's bad for... Ooh, nice dodge. It's bad for K2, right? It's even worse for someone like Psycho, who is a marksman who now has to play against a fed Rengar.
He's not going to be happy about that.
No.
Honestly, Klexo also just not going to have the greatest time against Kitsu on the Rengar. But we'll see how that ends up, continuing to pan out here. Still pretty close game overall. Top lane going even, mid lane as well. So it's just that jungle matchup that has, gone the way of Komodo 100%. K2 hovering around, maybe trying to find something out of Doxa, but again, this is going to be a pretty slow early game unless Kitsu has anything to say about it.
This is interesting. So Doxa just trying to go for some extra sustain as we start this one off.
Oh, looks like he might be in trouble, though. Okay. K2 going to jump in, not finding the kill on Doxa. But yeah, the Vamp Scepter plus the Fleet Footwork. Normally, Fleet Footwork indicates some sort of static Shiv buy early on, but maybe something like a Bork or a... I don't even know what else would come out of it for Doxa.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I like the idea of just having some extra sustain against a champion with a lot of poke like the LeBlanc, so I think that's probably just the idea. Maybe it will just end up being something standard, like a Kraken Slayer first item, just splashing in some life steal. I think that makes sense, but the idea certainly works into LeBlanc. He's also got the extra potion, so lots of options to keep himself healthy in the lane against the assassin, who, like I said, does have a lot of that burst potential, but the side laning is really the highlight with the static shiv. Just wave clear so strong. It's impossible to cut through in that side lane.
And we'll see if that's a strategy that Komodo would like to employ. Obviously, are instances that, you know, the team fights look pretty good for both of these teams, but also the side laning is good for both of these teams. So it'll be interesting to see how these two approach these later game fights. Top lane, though, Geiger taking 2 tower shots here. Topo not using the Call of the Forge God, but maybe forcing Geiger out of lane.
I feel like you're right. That could have definitely been something like an ult trade there, but just going to be walking away for now. Maybe thinking objectives forward, as there are 50 seconds from us and the Rift Herald spawning. Maybe that's really where the idea comes from. They're both teleporting back into the lane as this is their ult from Rengar.
Oh yeah, pops the R. Thrill the Hunt, not enough damage. Uses the W to keep himself alive as Plexus survives.
Alright. Plexo didn't have flash, so that could have maybe been dangerous. Back up top, Geiger actually uses his ult early just to chunk out Topo, so maybe this Rift Herald isn't actually out of their hands quite yet, even after Klexo got chunked and had to go back to base. Just making sure that Topo is not feeling super comfortable, and now K2 and Geiger can go into this jungle.
Yeah, I don't think that Kitsuo is gonna really be able to stop this too hard, or Topo, but they might give it a try. Call the Forge God is available. Let's see if they want to go for the engage. Kitsuo gonna jump in, but K2 secures the blue buff. Now they stomp the Rengar. Here comes the Oran Horn, but not going to knock up Geiger, as he's the one to take Kitsuo down, as CB Gaming even up the kill score at 1.
Kitsuo didn't have any time to build up his fury, so can't use the cleanse on the Jack stun to get out of that one, and does give up his entire life. Jumping in to try to steal away that blue buff ended up being his downfall, and now he gives up that kill and the Rift Herald all in one fell swoop. K2 swinging his team right back over, and the kill goes to Geiger too, so the late game side laning that we already said was powerful with LeBlanc, maybe two-pronged approach coming through now.
There's like 3 split pushers on CB Gaming's team as well. Oh my goodness, in the mid lane, Doxa gets the solo kill onto Klexo. Might be in some trouble, those K2 and Mixture are here, but ZKG backing him up. What a play from Doxa.
Man, playing leapfrog with him too. The double jump, exploding the bomb, the ultimate with the last auto attack coming in, the alley-oop for his own self. Throws it off the backboard, dunks it in. Very nicely done there for Doxa. And I mean, he's already up 3 plates in this mid lane. This Tristana is a monster.
And it's really great to see out of somebody like Doxa. Had a bit of a rougher time on Komodo in the last tournament. The only remaining player, this is somebody who was in the NACL just last split on TSM, and failed to even make it out of the group stage with Komodo, but now having a good performance here. 35 CS in the lead, even before 10 minutes.
That's pretty nasty. This Tristana is going to be big. We'll see if a first item can come through. Like I said, I think it's going to be a Vamp Scepter pit stop, so probably still Kraken first item. But that's going to come very soon. I mean, look at all this damage that Tristana deals to this turret. And, Klexo actually got into the explosive charge there, because it does get much larger when you strap it to a turret. So Klexo took a big chunk of damage there.
Yeah, it's always a little mini game, making sure that you're not around the tower as that explosive shot goes off. Because, yeah, Klexo just lost about half his health, and he's going to try to avoid having that happen to him again. Maybe with the help of K2 now, as does land the root. Here comes K2 landing the stun. Kitsuo waiting for so long, and Dox is still going to be able to survive here with the rocket jump. They trade flashes. K2 still looking to try to chase him down with the leaf strike, but the smite of Kitsuo will make sure that K2 cannot chase him down.
Oh yeah, and his control word was just barely not in the bush there too, so pretty sad for K2. So close to being in range of that. I like the setup that they were going for. The patience was palpable. The root did connect to set up for it, and now, I mean, Doxa does have a flash down. But with the Kraken Slayer fully built up, it's going to be really tricky to combat this. I mean, that CS lead and the plate gold is really coming through in a big way.
These are the Doxa that we know and love. Diffing people in the mid lane. And certainly doing that right now with that completed item already. And for Komodo, they're up about 800 gold, but they seem in firm control. Geiger has a pretty significant CS lead up at the top side, but they're not gonna care too much about that, as Topo still doing pretty well for himself.
Scaling Ornn pick, it's going to be okay. You've got a lot of time left in this game. As I mean, your mid laner is confident enough to do this, right? You're feeling really good.
Gank at the top side though. Topo gonna get stunned up here by K2. The Needlework comes out. Double knock up from the Ornn Horn, but Topo does not have flash, and Geiger will take him out.
Feeling less good now, as he's dead on the ground up top for Topo. But yeah, the pressure from the jungler up top lane. I mean, K2's ganks have been pretty good this game for what a Jax is expected to be able to do. Rift Herald now popped. Is this actually going to be the first turret going over to CB Gaming?
Wow.
It is.
Full tower taken up there. Doxa trying to respond, but Mixture able to keep him alive right now. Kitsuo flashes to try and knock out Mixture. They do get the tower, so that is the win, but a bit of an odd play as Geiger's continuing to push.
Yeah. I don't know how threatening a Rengar flashing towards you in the middle of mid lane with no brushes is, but it did get Klexo's flash. It spooked him a little bit right there, so all is well that ends well. Moving over to the Drake now is Komodo after taking mid lane turret, but with the successful play up top, look at this. K2 actually brings his team back up to an even gold state. They were down 1,000 before that, thanks to Doxa's power, but they've brought it all back, and now this game still super close.
Yeah, I mean, if CB are able to play their lanes out well, with Geiger and K2 having really strong presences in the side lanes, like this could definitely be a game that CB Gaming are able to take. Geiger is so strong, likely need 2, maybe 3 members to take him down at this stage in the game, as Tapa just does not have enough to contest him at this point. Rest of the map, not doing too bad either. Psycho a bit ahead in CS as well. Klexo, of course, struggling a little bit, but now has a static shiv, so that'll make his job a little bit easier. CB Gaming in a decent spot.
We're shivs all around, as Burai's got one down bot lane too, perhaps signifying that we were right. It is maybe going to be that AP Varus after this. Static shiv wave clear on both sides though. That's at least nice. You know, it's matching. You don't have to be too annoyed when you've got one as well.
I was hoping, well, I don't know if I was hoping, but I was maybe thinking to myself we could see 4 shivs this game with the champions that have been locked in. On patch 13.11, probably would have been the move. Maybe not this time around. There's a lot of magic damage on CB's side, so it makes sense for Psycho to go for a more physical-oriented build. And same for Doxa on the other side of things here. So not the quadruple shiv dream, but still a lot of wave clear for Doxa and Komodo as they are making their way down to maybe sniff out a bit of a dive.
There's a lot of action on the top side of the map. The bot laners haven't really done a whole lot yet, apart from that one play very early out of Komodo. We've got another play top side again, though.
Yeah, Kitsuo jumping in on the Klexo. That's a one-shot here for Doxa. K2 able to respond to one back. Has the Grandmaster's Might and is hitting away onto the Tristana. Gonna jump forward onto him. Finally, Doxa has to rocket jump away as ZKG will peel a little bit as well. K2 not done with this fight just yet. Jumps forward, flashes, tries to get stun to Doxa, and I think that might have been a little bit overzealous as Doxa now goes on a killing spree.
It was close to getting range of that stun. I think he should have just tried to stun up ZKG and at least get the Brahms flash. A little greedy there out of K2. Gives over some nice needed gold to Komodo after losing out on that play a little bit. I mean, the Jax damage is already really, really high. Kitsuo was not ready for that one as he's gone for the big damage burst build with the Eclipse. So, I mean, this is going to be a pretty threatening Jax to play against. Even though it is jungle, the side lane might be possible on that champion too. It's still Jax.
Still possible. I mean, K2 still is strong. We saw how much damage he was able to do in that fight. But, you know, right now, Doxa is looking very, very menacing in this game. So we're going to have to definitely look at him as somebody who can potentially burst K2 down if the cooldowns are utilized in the right way.
turret started up here for CB Gaming. Gonna be, looks like traded for some topside pressure, including the Rift Herald. There's nobody on CB Gaming who's up there. And Topo needs to just be careful and not die.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble, has to flash away. Gets away from the ultimate out of K2 as he chunks him down to about half HP. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Komodo pushing in onto the tier 2 tower. Geiger trying to clear that wave out. Doxa in the top side also utilizing that side lane prowess to burst down this tier 2 as Komodo coming out better in the side lanes, at least for now. Geiger chasing Doxa down, but he's going to be able to rocket jump away.
Yeah, this is the reason why you don't go for turret trades against champions like Tristana. You end up losing way, way more than you gain two inner turrets, or sorry, one inner turret, one middle turret for Komodo there. It's well worth it for them alongside pushing in those waves. And Topo, the only thing he had to do was flash out and he survived. So now Komodo with the extra gold, they can move over back to where the Drake is going to be spawning. They've already got two of them on their side. It's a Hex Tech Drake. That's all really nice for the extra damage. And I definitely still favor Komodo in this game, even though it is a bit of a close one.
We'll see how the 5v5s end up working out as now Topo joining the party in the mid lane, making sure that Komodo have priority mid before the dragon spawns. See, Burai has had a bit of a quieter game, but maybe has an opportunity now to really make his presence known. Dragon spawning in 20. Kitsuo getting a couple of camps before joining his team. This could be a 5v5 if CB want it.
They might. They are playing into a Rengar, so they have to make sure they don't get bursted.
Speaking of, yeah, Mixture just gets one shot already. You cannot face check a team like this here, Summer. There's already one kill on the board for Komodo. Kitsuo pops the ultimate, going forward on the K2. The Ornhorn lands onto the Jax as well. He's not able to move, man. Vamacry picks up the kill, and now Klexo has to run away. Komodo get two.
Yep, and they have all of the right of way when it comes to the Drake too. Let's see if Komodo want to go for that objective. I think they will, yeah. There's a static shiv wave clear that I was talking about. Super annoying. You cannot siege into that, especially when Doxa is the one hitting the Drake. Alongside Kitsuo, they secure their third Drake of the game, and they prove to CBG why they cannot face check those bushes. Even on the tank champion like the Rel, the damage is just way, way, way too high.
Yeah, Mixture and Klex and K2 were not allowed to play the game in that team fight. They just walked a little bit too far, and the abilities damaged Komodo too much for them to handle. And now Doxa and the rest of the team really in control of this one. Gold lead spiked to about 3,000. They now are on Hex Tech Soul Point. And we'll see what their next move is. The Baron spawns in about a minute, and I think maybe if you're Komodo, you could probably just force a fight around that.
Yeah, I mean, Komodo's already stepping on the gas a little bit here, too. They stick around with the Drake. They even push in the mid wave. They push in bot to take the bot lane turret. I mean, a lot of stuff taken on the map. And ZKG actually successfully defends the blue buff, too. So no map trades either. Well done to the Braum.
Oh, what a Giga Chad. ZKG on the Braum, making sure that not even the blue buff gets stolen away. As he's still running. He's still chasing Geiger around. He just is on a solo mission right now, and his team is helping him out because they are in a good position. Komodo with an opportunity to go 2-0. Remember, even though we had high expectations for this Komodo roster in the last qualifier, they never really met that expectation. They went 3-2 in the Swiss, and then, as we know, lost in the playoffs. Of course, you could blame some of it on internet outages, but with Dox in here in the mid lane and some of the staff remaining, having this solid performance, even in the Swiss bracket, is a good sign.
Yeah, and even with the substitution made here for ZKG, Kenji, the listed starter, we haven't seen him suit up for the Rift quite yet. The ZKG's been filling in quite nicely with the greedier build this game on the Braum, going for the more expensive Radiant Virtue rather than the Locket of the Iron Solari. And now with the Rift Herald that they took before, it seems like they're trying to siege up right now. That is one way to break the Static Shiv wave clear. You just Rift Herald through it. The Rift Herald can't die to Static Shiv, right?
Not unless you proc it a bunch of times and takes a couple of tower shots. You see it did end up falling after getting another proc onto the tier 3. Look like CB, maybe we're looking for an engage there, but it's just really scary, even though Doxa is not even with the team at this point. So they're going to have to back away. Gold lead now almost 4K, as Komodo once again still has that firm hold of the map.
Yeah, this is a really good performance from Komodo for sure. They've got the demolition champion in the Tristana. They're setting up for success there. Doxa hasn't really gone for some shenanigans that sometimes catch him out. You know, sometimes Doxa is one of those guys that will go for a lot of skirmishes and end up dying maybe a bit more than he should. I remember that happened a lot in the last qualifier, but Deathless in this game, a big shutdown bounty on his head, and he's keeping that one safe for now. Just playing up in that side lane and taking down these turrets. I mean, Komodo's already got 5 of them to their name, and I mean, they're using the gold quite well. It is that AP Varus that we wanted to see too. Nashor's Tooth is here.
At least a little bit of magic damage coming through here for Komodo, making sure that Blight procs do a lot of damage, especially against players like champions like Gwen and Rel that stack some health, but maybe not as much MR in this game. You land that Chain of Corruption, it will be bad news for one of those 2 players.
Pushing in these waves, let's take a check at where the objectives are. Baron is alive, and the Drake is coming up very soon, and that's, I think, the big stopgap for this game. If CB Gaming give that one up, I think it's going to be really tricky for them to come back. And we've been saying it's a bit of a close game, less so now that the minutes have gone by, but CB Gaming, they certainly can still make it close with a strong skirmish and a denial of the soul in a minute's time if they can go for that. Maybe something like a Baron trade is in the cards too. They've got a lot of members up here.
Oh, wow, they're actually just maybe going to send it right now. If you can get a catch, that is a good opportunity for CV to start an objective up. Topo does spot them. And so now Komodo is aware of what could potentially be going on. Kitsuo pops through of the hunt, looking for somebody here, but CB doing a nice job to stack up, making sure that it would be a one-way trip for Kitsuo if he jumps in. So just a zoning tool for now. It's Dragon spawning in 30.
Yeah, just grouping up like those, what are those fish that all like stay together? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
just when the
I
shark
don't remember
comes in, they swarm. That's the point.
Yeah.
Survival instincts, even in League of Legends. How about that?
Exactly. And Kitsuo is the shark, you know. Well, at least when he's ulting. Everything else, he's a pretty tame kitty. Hasn't had the highest impact on this game, though he did get that first blood. So, shout out Kitsuo for that one.
Now it's actually CB with inner tracking around the Dragon Pit. They would be the ones that have to start this up. Remember, it's Hextech Soul Point. Make sure you're going to start the engage. Land the Magnustorm in onto 3. Dash in from Psycho. This could be a good fight as Plexo dashes forward, but a big call. The Forge God out of Topo. And now Komodo can run the floor with this team fight. Doxa jumping around everybody on CB Gaming. K2 will go down. It's a double kill for the Triss. And will jump on top of the head of Psycho to finish him off with the explosive shot. The ace for Komodo as they make their way mid.
Dropping the emote, he knows what's coming. The ace, 5 for 0. And look at this, Doxa up 3 more kills in this game, 604. Still completely deathless on the marksman in the mid lane, breaking so many of those structures. And they will take their big prize of the Baron, and I think the Drake Soul at the same time. Yeah, look at that. Kitsuo not even needed on this Baron. This was a close game before, but not quite anymore with the Turo Baron buff and the Drake Soul going over to Komodo.
It's a 2-for-1 special, and Komodo are eating today. Now putting off the finishing touches, maybe some dessert in the Nexus to get that 2-0. And after the first day of Swiss, now just if they do end up closing this out, just one more win for them to secure their spot in GSL group stage early and make sure that the rest of the games that they're playing are proceeding. CB, though, it's a bit rough for them at this point. The side lanes are probably where you're going to have to look at Summer in order for them to come back in some capacity.
Yep, feels like it. CB Gaming, they already did get their first win in the Swiss, so congratulations to them for that one. They've got 3 more games after this. This one's looking really tricky, though.
Kitsuo's in a bit of a pickle, but he is very ahead. Yeah, ahead enough with Doxa helping him out as well. The rest of CB are going to collapse. Here comes Psycho in with the Killer Instinct. Komodo are a bit out of position, but Doxa now arrives to the fight with Topo, and that's all that they need to wipe the floor with this fight. It's a triple kill for Doxa, and he's going to make it a quad as Mixture goes down. The second straight ace coming through for Komodo, as it's once again a Doxa diff.
Dropping a 10 bomb here in game 2 of the Swiss so far. Doxa is crushing these team fights on this Tristana. Very, very well done for him as they've got the Baron minions. They're pushing in mid lane, and we're going to see just how much they can get in this game. 26 minutes in, inhibitor turret drops, inhibitor follows afterward. It's only Klexo alive right now, but that's enough. This game is still going to go on for a little while longer. And I mean, Grapes, this is the guy that put this team together, wanted to play it with his friends, wanted to see just how far they could go, and, well, he cycled them out for some different friends this time around, and
I have better friends
well.
now. Hey, maybe he feels more confident on his better friends because this is definitely the best game that I have watched of Doxa this split. 10-0 and 5 on the Tristana against a team that we are expected to make the group stage. So not necessarily stomping some noobs. This is a matchup that we could very well see in the group stage.
Yeah, definitely could happen. And Kitsuo wants to cause some more ruckus here. Oh.
Yeah, the Hextech Soul just makes it so hard. Kitsuo trying to jump into the bush, find another attack onto CB. But they're going to play the long game here. 30 more seconds of the Turo Baron buff. They'll make their way onto the tier 2. And you do have Geiger pushing in the top side, so you do have to consider that as they do send Kappa back.
Actually doesn't have teleport for Topo, so he's stuck there to match Geiger, who has actually had the lead on him this entire game. I don't know if that's true anymore. But it's been not that bad of a game for Geiger, who is teleporting back to the base now. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, CB Gaming is...
I was a little confused.
CB Gaming is in panic mode, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's this is really difficult for them to play because right now your win condition is Geiger, but you also want to like side lane with Geiger, but you can't win team fights without Geiger. The rest of the team has not been up to snuff in terms of DPS in the team fight just yet, so you're looking maybe for that Geiger 1v9 right now as Kitsuo will jump right onto the Gwen and flash onto him and make sure that there is 0 win condition for his team. The Magnet Storm from Mixture is big, but there is absolutely no follow-up as Doxa goes legendary on the Triss. K2 does take down Kitsuo because he went really far forward without an escape plan, but Komodo pushing into mid, trying to end this game early.
Only 3 members alive here for CB Gaming. Oh my god, that turret drops so fast with Doxa. See if they can bring the minions in. They're actually out. Got a sneaky little shiv hit in there for Klexo. Need to bring in another set of minions from the bottom lane. Oh my god.
Klexo in trouble. One auto attack is all it takes to take Klexo down. Doxa with another one. He is destroying this game. Just like we know that he is able to do. A double kill now for the Triss once again. Komodo pushing for the end. Maybe they'll stack a couple more kills. Pad the KDAs a tad more. Maybe an unofficial Penta in the wing for Doxa. No, Burai steals it away. Welcome to the NACL, my friend. You have stolen a pentakill away from Doxa. There's the Nexus. There's the game. Komodo are 2-0 entering day 2 of Swiss.
14-0-7 performance from Doxa to close out their day 1. And this is what we wanted to see out of Doxa and the gang here. I think it's safe to say that us and them and a lot of other fans pretty disappointed with their showing in the first qualifier, but we have hope, and we definitely have some more now as this team is barreling their way towards the group stage. Only one more win that they need to get before they're making it into groups, but I feel like they could go even further than that.
And honestly, now that I think about it, they might be a higher seed in terms of the 2-0's games that they have to play because Lit lost their game, so that's another seed out of the way. And I believe CCG also just dropped to Return of the Middle Stick, so that means that at this point in time, Komodo are like your 4th seed or the 4th highest, so they're going to be playing against somebody very similar in seeding to them around that 6 to 8 mark to determine who will make it first into the group stage in round 3.
Yeah, still a lot of games going on right now, including Rally Cry 2, which seems to be a pretty big barn burner, as it looks like Aporia and Apex Mission Impossible have really gone down to the wire. That game's going on for a long time. Should we do some updates for everybody?
We can, yeah.
Before we close it out, do you want to take it right now?
Yeah, so as we said, Middle Sticks with a very surprising victory in that game against CCG. I've taken a look once again. Dragowski and the Maokai went 7-1-11 in that one to make sure that their team, the number 18 seed, is sitting at 2-0 and just 1 win away from making it into the group stage. Going on, there's some other games, as we said, Mirage Alliance has won pretty early. We see Teamless Revenge getting their way back to 1-1, and Team Ambition going for that 2-0 as well. So overall, a lot of things that are going on that are pretty up to expectations, but there are a
Yeah.
couple of things that are looking a bit spicy, specifically middle sticks there at the 18 seed.
Yeah, it seems like this round is going a bit more to expectation than what we saw before. Yeah, all of our all of our top 4 teams that we seeded initially did pick up their wins. Oh wait, Cold Hearted, the Yukino team is now 2-0, so that's pretty cool. They were seeded well below the 2-0 expectation, so
Yeah,
that's going to be really exciting to watch out for. I'm a big Yukino fan. Hopefully, we get to watch them tomorrow.
they would have a pretty exciting game. It's probably against teams such as Team Ambition or Mirage Alliance or along that line. So we'll keep our eyes out. We'll have more gameplay on your screen tomorrow for the last 3 rounds of Swiss. But Summer, I think we're about good to close things out because we got NACL coming up in just a few minutes on Challengers League.
Yep, in about 10 minutes we'll get started over there. So if you're here on the LCS Challengers channel, stay tuned for that. The NACL final weekend is actually starting up, so we'll have all of our playoff teams locked in alongside the 2 that will unfortunately be going over to the promotion tournament and playing against the best that we have here on the qualifier. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a really important weekend for NACL.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in early for us on the qualifiers. The NACL once again getting started soon, but we'll say so long. Reminder, you can catch all action of the LCS Challengers League qualifiers on twitch.tv/RallyCryOfficial and RallyCry2. But we will see you right there tomorrow for the last 3 rounds of Swiss. So long, everybody.